Well, finally tonight, Pope Francis invites the church to rediscover, quote, the power and the truth of the Christian celebration. In a 15-page letter released yesterday, the Holy Father said in part he wants the beauty of the Christian celebration to not be spoiled. The Pope's message was released to coincide with the Solemnity of Saints Peter and Paul. Joining us now from Rome is Andreas Thonhauser, EWTN Vatican Bureau Chief. Andreas, great to see you. Before talking about this apostolic letter, yesterday, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi received Holy Communion at Mass with Pope Francis at the Vatican, something we did talk about yesterday. That said, what more can you tell us?
Yeah, thank you, Tracy. Yesterday, we celebrated an important Roman and Vatican feast day. Quite unexpectedly, it saw the co-occurrence of two remarkable events. U.S. Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi received the Eucharist in St. Peter's during a papal mass despite being prominently banned from receiving it in her home diocese. And Pope Francis published an explanatory letter on his motu proprio from last year, the new rules issued regarding traditional Mass, which stirred quite some controversy. Well, let's start with Nancy Pelosi. While speaking at the U.S. Embassy's 4th of July reception and awarding U.S. State Department support to the Italian Sant'Egidio community for their work with the homeless, Pelosi made sure to stop by St. Peter's and attend a papal Mass. Her reasoning for doing so remains open, but it comes amid strong condemnations from her and other leading Democrats of the recent Roe v. Wade overturn by the U.S. Supreme Court. She intensified her rhetoric, calling for abortion to be decriminalized across the states. And this clear anti-life stance brought the bishop of her home diocese of San Francisco, Archbishop Corleone, to request her to not receive communion. Tracy, Nancy Pelosi did meet the Pope briefly before Mass, but did not receive the Eucharist from him. She participated at Mass amongst other diplomats and received it from a randomly chosen priest sent to administer the Eucharist to the diplomatic corps seatings. Matteo Bruni, the Vatican spokesperson, who I spoke to briefly today, did not want to comment on this. And this is not unusual, as Pelosi's participation in Mass was private in nature and not official. Still, the world press reported on it, and there is now a certain sense that the Vatican would approve of Pelosi's or even President Biden's stance on abortion. But clearly, this is not the case.
I'm curious, Andreas, how is the letter? How's that related to Nancy Pelosi?
So the letter is called Desiderio Desideravi. This is the Latin opening of Luke 22:15, meaning, I have ardently desired. In the letter, Pope Francis reiterates how important the celebration of the Eucharist is for the life of the Church. The Holy Father writes that we should not overemphasize the correctness of celebration and at the same time not banalize it. With his letter, he simply wants to invite the whole Church to, and I quote, rediscover, to safeguard and to live the truth and power of the Christian celebration, and not to be exploited in service of some ideological vision, no matter what the hue, he writes.
So, Andreas, is the new letter, is it meant to calm the waves that the new rules on the traditional Mass caused?
It might be meant as a clarification and also a step towards those who felt misunderstood and left alone with the new rules and Latin Mass. Recently, Pope Francis called this group the Restorers and explicitly mentioned the U.S. as their geographical focal point. The letter does not soften the blow for those who have a special relationship with the traditional Latin Mass. In 15 pages, Pope Francis explains why there should only be one liturgy, namely the liturgy suggested by the Second Vatican Council. I quote, we cannot go back to the ritual form which the Council Fathers cum Petro et sub Petro felt the need to reform. Pope Francis writes at the end of his letter. In the final paragraph, he concludes, let us abandon our polemics to listen together to what the Spirit is saying to the Church.
Well, Andreas, thank you so much for that report. We appreciate it. Andreas Thonhauser, EWTN Vatican Bureau Chief. Thank you again.